want to say is this. Uhuru coming in and coming back to politics is a very interesting position. And he cannot be ignored. One, there are still people in Mount Kenya region who still respect him. I've also seen a lot of people who have regretted that they never listened to him. The united opposition has all the reasons to worry. They cannot just say he was there 2022. The Uhuru was there 2022 that majority ignored. It's not the same Uhuru who is there now 2020 for 2025. Because there are many things that have happened. But what has happened with our voters is that we are very emotional in our voting.
You know, fellow Kenyans, someone once asked me a very simple question, but I found it's somewhat difficult to answer. This guy asked me that why is it that we have women leaders? Why can't we just decide and say that the leadership belongs to men, especially to run this country? But now, you know, according to 2010 Constitution, it says that women have got right, and there must be a third gender rule. That issue of the third gender rule has really spoiled a lot of things. Now, in this video, I want you to watch Sabina Chege speaking. In fact, Sabina Chege was working with, I don't know whether she left Jubilee, but she used to be a very strong Jubilee party member. So I want you to listen to this interview, and then after listening, you be the judge and tell me what you think and where you are watching this video from. What this?
Party leader, because as per the Constitution, once the retired president left the position, we didn't have a meeting to have somebody to hold on party leadership until we hold an NDC and have proper, you know, person taking over. And I think also what happened on Friday, even when Uhuru came in, we are not so sure whether he's still holding on.
Did you attend the NDC?
No, I didn't attend. I was not invited. And politically,
you're a party member. NDC, do you need a special invitation for that?
Politically, if you're not invited somewhere, and Gakuya would tell you if there is
at
a
your
UDA,
party's national delegate conference.
If it's a UDA meeting, I'm
you
not
are
sure
a
whether
member nominated by that party.
I've not seen my colleague here in a UDA political meeting, because you never know if in politics, if you're not invited, you never know.
Are you an orphan? Are you an orphan in politics?
I am not.
But Jubilee, you should have shown up. Then we see them chasing you away.
I cannot. I am not.
Right.
I am not interested in drama, and so I try to avoid drama as much as possible. But what I would want to say, this is very interesting times, that we are discussing a party that majority of them dismissed it and said it was dead. And I think just towards the end of 2022, even so, people conducting burials of the Jubilee party.
It is a thanks.
And I also want to say thanks to us and the controversy, because the party has remained being relevant, and people are talking now about Jubilee, and that is a status. But coming from Mount Kenya region, it is very interesting because one person has come in and said, if you do not follow me, if you are not in my party, then you are a betrayer, then you are a traitor. And they have branded members and individuals who are not following these demigod names. And so it was interesting for Uhuru to come in and now provide another or a different platform. And that is why you can see a lot of people talking and saying, so this is a wheelbarrow, it's now painted red. So whether they come in as Jubilee or whatever it is. And I just want to say it's the high time we appreciate that different politicians and people have liberty to choose. And that is why even in this new constitution, there's a chance that you can also vie as an independent candidate. Do not try to put and push people into a bottle or into one bus that you must. If you don't follow me, then that means you are not loyal to your tribesmen, or you cannot be counted as somebody. Now saying this small clique, because they worship me, because they follow me, they are the only ones who should be elected. Or someone saying, I am the one to come and tell you who you will elect. Let me just say something. I think Kenyans and where we have reached, they have their own mind. They have a sound mind. They can be able to decide and say, yes, this kind of a person is the kind of a person you're looking for, and this is what we want in the leadership. Unfortunately, what has been happening, and I think I want to just, I've been in politics now for maybe this is my 13th year. What has been happening before is that if a certain political party is popular in a region, then the person who goes into these political parties almost have an assurance that I am going to be elected. But I think what Kenyans, even as we register the voters, we should be asking ourselves, what kind of leadership are we looking for? That is why we find immediately after we vote in a government, then there's a lot of dissatisfactions. Because what people forget, even if I am following Gakuya as my presidential candidate, and you have elected me as a member of parliament, Gakuya will not escort me to that parliament. Gakuya will not take me to the county government if I'm the governor or I'm the MCA. Whether I am following him or not, I have a responsibility as the person who has been elected to be able to work for my people. And there are things that we politicians promise people when we are asking for votes. But immediately after, we try to find, we go and hide under, I was elected under this, and so I am blaming so-and-so for me not working, for my underperformance. Look at Nairobi. How is Nairobi today? And I would want to ask Gakuya, are you very happy on the state of Nairobi, how it is? So who do we blame? And I think we have gotten to a level where independently, and I can see maybe 2027 will have many members who will vie as independent candidates, not wanting to be associated with whoever, but want to come in as an individual. But number two also, I pray that one day we will have political parties that have manifestos that they can follow, that manifestos are not only used as a tool to hoodwink voters to vote for you and that political party, but immediately after, and these political parties, as you have said, a lot of them are also earning from the kitty of from the political parties. But are they worth to earn? Why do they get this money? Are they using even that political party's money to actually work for the people who even voted for them or the membership? I think we need to start criticizing ourselves. I hope one day we'll get to the level where I say I am a Democrat or I am a Republican or I believe in this political party, not because of the person who is the head, but because of the ideals, because of the beliefs, because of what I would want to do for Kenyans. Maybe when we get to that level, and that is maybe what we call political maturity, we'll get there. But as long as we start following people who they are calling themselves kingpins, who are the ones to dictate to us,
indeed,
if somebody is not with me, don't vote.
The National Assembly.
First and foremost, let us agree that in fact we had no hope that in fact Uhuru at any time will come to support DCP as a party, noting that Uhuru is a bona fide member of a Jubilee party. What I would say is that in fact, first and foremost, let us respect the law as it is. Uhuru has not been denied by anybody to support anybody running on Jubilee party. But what he should do is to adhere to the law, quit from the party leader, allow the party to run, and support the party in his own other means, because nobody will block him from doing so. But he should not cling to be the party leader of that party any longer. He should quit with immediate effect. Number two, this party took itself to an election in the last concluded election in 2022. And we all of us know how it performed. So I don't think that there is any miracle that this party will really jumpstart and do better than what it did when Uhuru was ahead of state. This, to me, does not worry me even a second. What I would state very clearly is that there was a notion of a united opposition, where Jubilee was purported to be part of the united opposition. But in the last NDC for Jubilee, it seems that they have changed their mind and they have opted to go on their own, probably to sponsor a candidate, and most likely one Matiang'i, of which to me, I can't get worried at all, because Matiang'i will only split votes that comes from Kisii region. Because I am totally confident that Uhuru cannot split the mountain votes.
Yet all the other parties within the united opposition are fielding their own candidates.
Remember Idimuli, Uhuru had his own candidate in the last election. Remember he performed dismally, and he only garnered 13% in Mount Kenya. 87% went elsewhere. And let me tell you, that still decision stands. Don't think that in fact Mount Kenya will split because of Uhuru coming up with a different candidate. That will not work.
But what is your concern? What is your concern with Matiang'i running for president on Jubilee ticket? We have Kalonzo Musyoka on Wiper. We have Eugene Wamalwa on DAPK. We have Gachagua on DCP. What is so wrong with Jubilee Party?
In fact, there is nothing wrong with that. The only thing that is wrong is the end game result. Because from the word go, I had been suggesting that in fact this is one team. And at the end of the day, they will zero down to a single candidate. It seems as if this particular idea is changing, and it has taken to take a different election. I cannot be comfortable if at the tail end Uhuru is not going to work with the rest of the team, because remember, you are fighting a battle with a master of a stroke, who is one William Ruto. If the only thing that I can be able to say that Uhuru is doing it better, because he insisted that he's still in what we call Azimio, and by trying to check side by side, I couldn't be able to see who is now Azimio. Taking consideration that in Kalonzo, combination of Kalonzo and Gachagua cannot bring Azimio factor again, and seeing now Odinga in partnership with William Ruto in government, then that particular element of Azimio is nowhere. So I was not really able to know to understand where the Azimio factor is coming in and who is Azimio for now. And I can tell you for sure, it can be more conducive environment when probably Uhuru and Rigathi are not so deviated. When they are close, it can tell you that in fact that block of mountain can move to one direction, Uhuru. But it does not mean if Uhuru decides today that he will learn his own political agenda, completely different from Gachagua, that he will injure Gachagua in any big manner. The only thing I can tell you and take this to bank is that Murima, for those who understand them, they can take a decision, and their decision cannot be defeated by any force. At the end of the day, at the tail end, they will cast the vote where they think it fits for them. But let us look this particular aspect on a broader way and get out of Mount Kenya, because you cannot win an election with only dependence of Mount Kenya regional vote. But what I can assure you, in terms of Murima, as of now, things might change tomorrow. But as much as we may try to demean Gachagua, as of now, I can tell him he's taking the mantle.
Is that the biggest concern? Is that the biggest concern? Because
let me tell you, Idimuli, it is not long at all. Because other communities are on the same route.
And is that the biggest concern? Because listening to the retired president, he talked about Jubilee being a national party. And he warned against people balkanizing different regions and using their parties as a gateways to those, as the only gateways to those regions. And that is what the cartoon was talking about. Is the concern that Uhuru Kenyatta's continued active involvement in politics demeans in any way Rigathi Gachagua as a potential kingpin of the Mount Kenya region?
As of now, nothing will change. The battle will stand.
But look, we are being told inside Raila's plan to lock in ODM bases. What's the difference? What's the difference there? This
and that's my question. Is it, when you're talking about Mount Kenya, that the concern is that now the plan to lock Mount Kenya region is being interfered by Uhuru Kenyatta?
Allow me to explain myself. Is that most likely we will head back to the result of last election, where Uhuru still will have his minimal margin to split in Murima. But I can tell you, the majority of Murima will swing one direction.
I'm talking like this because Jubilee, currently, all the members from Jubilee Party are mostly from the northeastern region, not even Mount Kenya region. Why the fear?
No, we are not saying that we have any fear. But in fact, in this particular moment, we don't want to lose any single vote. If really you want to fight a battle to win, you need a block vote. Especially in what is happening in this particular moment in time, I would wish that in fact everybody, because the politics of Kenya is being handled in what we call kingships, and you are expecting that in fact William, in his battle, his backyard, we will stand with him wholly. Laila in his backyard will stand with him wholly. So in fact, everyone who is a kingmaker is a kingpin of a particular region. Let us not put the image in Mount Kenya only, but nationally, this is how the politics shaped itself. That every single region, it has a kingpin. And these kingpins at the end of the day.
And that's indeed what's there on the front page of the Star. That unless you control these regions, then it won't really work. They talk about the need for 25% out of the 24
But in fact, also note this in the money, This region has their king, has their...
It's a political reality.
Yeah. And therefore, there is no way that even today you come to tell me that you just go to command Uasin when they have their kingmaker there. Okay. It will be very hard. At the same time...
I'll give you an opportunity.
No, I will give you a rule. I don't want to take this politics so tribal. But whether we like it or not, and I tell you what, until when these kingships will come to an end, that's only we will kill this political of tribal zoning. Mm-hmm. But as much as this tribal zoning are still there, agree, just take it to the ballot that, and I tell you it, Eastern Kamba will follow where Kamba Kaloso will be. And let me tell you, Ruo Nyanza will follow where Raila will be. And Kisii will move where Matiang'i will be. This is the most scenarios that you'll find. Okay. And even in what we call Western region, it will be a split between Natembea and Wamalwa versus Mudavadi and Wetangula. That's how politics will shape itself.
So what I want to say is this. Uhuru coming in and coming back to politics is a very interesting position. And he cannot be ignored. One, there are still people in Mount Kenya region who still respect him. I've also seen a lot of people who have regretted that they never listened to him. The united opposition has all the reasons to worry. They cannot just say he was there 2022. The Uhuru was there 2022 that majority ignored. It's not the same Uhuru who is there now 2020 for 2025. Because there are many things that have happened. But what has happened with our voters is that we are very emotional in our voting. We either vote because we feel our person was not treated well, our person was betrayed, that is why we want to vote. But then what we don't ask ourselves, so if our person was then betrayed or was mistreated, then is our person capable of leadership? Because that's a different story altogether. And to my amazement, I thought when we're having Jubilee, and I've seen maybe the Jeremiah Kioni and others trying to go for same meetings with the united opposition. I've seen the new chairperson, the one who is from Narok, going for meetings with Gashagua's meeting. I've seen my former colleagues, majority of them going for DCP. Somebody like, I think, Honorable Mwadi from Rimuru, Honorable Kimari from Mathioya. I've seen them being very active, kind of becoming DCP members. But again, on Friday, they were in Jubilee meeting. But what happened? The so-called united opposition, the Jubilee NDC was announced for some time. They never attended this one, but they opted to attend another one where we had some, I don't know whether it was a launch with Mother Karua's party, and that's where we saw Kalonzo, that's where we also saw the former Deputy President Gachagua. So it is interesting times, and if anyone would think that you can box or put Mount Kenya in one box, remember, and I think lessons that we need to learn with the by-elections, where we have seen DCP almost not having any candidate in almost all the areas. In Bere, you remember they had a candidate, then they withdrew for Muturi party. And I think majority, we have seen a lot of like playing cards. At the end of the day then, would DCP then say that we really have the whole of Mount Kenya region? I want to appreciate, and I wanted to tell Wakili here, and he's my good friend for a very long time. The difference between Jubilee and UDA, there's a very thin line.
Very thin line?
Yes, and I want to tell you why. Because the project and the many things that we started as the ruling party then as Jubilee, that is what this government has come to continue with.
But this wheelbarrow policy...
It doesn't matter...
Wheelbarrow policy.
Wakili, what I'll say, the colors may have changed. But if you look at Jubilee, there was the issue about housing. Okay. That is what UDA is doing now.
But not affordable housing, and I'm being taxed without my consent.
Might be doing it differently.
For that.
That's what I'm saying. The approach might be different. We had the issue of UHC that we piloted. And by the time we launched fully UHC, then the SHA came.
But your leader was saying different.
That is what I'm saying. So they might have, might be the singers or the people who are leading the choir may have been different people, but they are singing similar and very close songs.
We have exactly 7 minutes.
One of the reasons I support this government, we have projects, we have Mau roads in my county that are still not complete.
2 minutes each for a final
I have
comments.
a chance to push for them. We have the markets, like
Do you want to
Kangari
start?
market.
I give you 2 more minutes.
No, let me finish because they have spoken
after that,
and
if
I
you
didn't
continue,
finish.
I won't have time for
I was just answering
I
that
have spoken
question.
about that issue of the...
No, the issue
give
was
you
you said you don't know whether I'm in Jubilee or UDA, and I just wanted to tell you the line is very thin. And the same thing that we're pushing for, these are the things that are continuing.
But the law doesn't
But then
permit you to be there.
Which law? I am not.
No.
Wakil.
The
I
political
am a
parties.
member of Jubilee Party. And even in Parliament, we are recognized as an independent parliamentary party.
Okay. Wakil.
Because as we say, we are not going to go for man.
Your 2 minutes,
We want to
final
have
words.
a dialogue so that we can have a way forward.
Thank you. Now, the sort of scenario that you are seeing here playing out is the unhappy scenario that is causing voter apathy among the Kenyan people, especially the youth, who are saying that, oh, you have your kingpin in the Western region, you have your kingpin in Central, you have your kingpin wherever it is, but they do not articulate my issues. I feel totally out of place with them. They haven't even approached me to ask me, you know, we saw their political party then revamping or otherwise, Jubilee, and they haven't even asked the Kenyan people, okay, fine, how do you want us to move forward from this point, thenceforth? And who would you like? If you look at the Political Parties Act, the political party is supposed to be articulating policies. And the Kenyan people are given an opportunity by virtue of that law, I believe Section 6, to articulate policies. So you find the government, for instance, is pushing down the throat of counties, this e-procurement. And they are saying that, look, it is slowing down the delivery of services. We're not even able to access services, funds because of this e-procurement. Is that a policy that the political party of UDA, for instance, which Honorable Sabina has joined?
I have not joined UDA, and it's,
no, I
it's
said,
very good.
I said policy. I said policy. You know, is it something that has been discussed with the Kenyan people so that then we're saying this political party is espousing this, it is articulating this, and therefore I subscribe to it? Where is the opportunity of the Kenyan people for them to have a say and say that, look, so-and-so is not my kingpin. So-and-so does not represent me. So-and-so is, and this is what is contributing to this whole political scenario of voter apathy and the rejection of that whole arrangement. My request to the Kenyan people is this: let's rise up. Let's use the institutions that we have. Let's use the vote that is now coming up soon to vote out the sort of arrangements that we have. There are those who voted UDA, you know, the presidential candidate who was William Ruto, and there are those who voted under Jubilee for Raila Odinga. Now, democracy dictates that he then who wins the vote then should lead under the policies of their political party. Okay. Now, for you to get back and say that, you know, the candidate for Jubilee who was Raila Odinga is joining government like this without then going back to the people and saying that, okay, we now have this scenario of a merger. Can we merge? Can we work together? What are the terms? What do you want? This is what is causing apathy. And the Kenyan people are saying, all of you get out.